This is an unboxing review for Browncastle Games Crokinole board. This is one of their tournament size boards. It's the Lady board, and just as a disclaimer, I don't have any connection with Browncastle Games, nor do I have any, nor did I get anything from them in order to do this review. But if you do order from them, I just want you to get some idea of what you're getting, how it's packaged, how it shows up, and what the final product looks like here. This is a box that was shipped in. It was shipped UPS 3 days, and you notice that they taped some little blocks of foam on the side. It's actually kind of a pretty good idea because it makes it so the center where the board is doesn't actually hit anything, doesn't actually touch anything. And I do want to tell you that this is the second board I ordered, so I kind of know what I'm getting here. And you'll probably figure out that this is going to be a fairly favorable review, since if I ordered it again, the first one must be good enough. Okay, anyway, this box is around 3 foot by 3 foot, maybe slightly smaller than that. It's really two sides, so what I do, if you want to open it, I would put the logo side down and just kind of set that down like that. Let's get this back in the camera. Here we go. And what I'm going to do, these are two basically square trays that are sandwiched into each other. So I'm just going to take a knife or a utility knife or whatever and go ahead and cut the tape that goes all the way around the outside. And this way I can kind of be sure that I don't cut the board or do anything stupid like that. I do also want to mention, while I am cutting this thing out here, there is a little plastic center, I think called an easy out, that allows you to get the little discs or the little pucks out of the center hole. In this particular case, they shipped it with the box. At least they sent me an email and tell me they shipped it with the box. I guess we'll see if they did for sure. But usually they ship those separate. And shipping on this was actually really fairly quick. It only took 3 days after the board was ordered that this thing showed up on the front porch. Let's see, let's open this thing up here and let's see what we got. Okay, that's what we've got right there. Aha, they weren't lying. They actually do have the centerpiece. Usually this little center plastic disc that goes in the center hole arrives separately by mail. So this will ship quick, about 3 days. But this sucker, if they mail it separately, and the reason they mail it separately most times is because you can get a custom logo or an imprinted design on this. And it costs you like, you know, $3 to $4 to do that. And if you do, then they do that and they mail it separately. So this is the little clear, and you can't see it from where you're at, but this is the little clear plastic disc that goes in the center. So expect that, you know, about 4 days after you actually get your board. And it looks like everything lined up. They packaged it fairly well. That's what they've got. They've got these on the sides. And that's there, that's there. And they just got, looks like a piece of shrink wrap kind of around here. Let's open this up. They've got a piece of foam over the posts, and that's what they've got on the post there. And that's basically the back of the board right there. And this is basically the front of the board. Now, after opening it and looking at it, I did see a couple of spots on the outside rail. And I'm assuming these were in the center. You see there's a little bitty, there's a little chip that's right there. And if you flip it over on the back side, you can kind of see just a little chip there. Now, to me, it really doesn't matter that much. I mean, it had a long way to go. I really thought the things that they put over top of it, they could have been better. And actually, the first one that I ordered did have 4 really good thick pads on each of the 4 sides. And I'd wish they'd done that with this one. So just a note to you, Browncastle Games, if you're watching this, be sure that you pack every one of them so it doesn't do this. And there's actually one more little ding right there. And I can kind of feel a little bit of depression here where it actually probably got dropped by somebody, but not enough to ruin it for me. I'm not a perfectionist. Just be aware that, or if you want to send them a note, you might say, be sure to put thick packing on the 4 sides. I'm assuming that they actually do the shipping themselves because they were the ones that actually put the easy out in the package with this. So I am assuming that they're actually at the same time doing the packaging for it. Okay, now the color on this is probably not going to be accurate because with my camera, you know, I almost need to point it at something that's a different color and then bring it back, and wow, it looked yellow for a moment. But this is really a nice maple color to it. I preferred this one of the lady board. The Lord board had a dark center with a light outline around it, and I liked this particular one better. So if we take a close-up, if you look at it, the surface of the game board itself is actually a laminate, but it's a really hard, well-made laminate. It's the kind of laminate that would be on school lab tables, stuff that takes a lot of punishment of equipment being moved on it, stuff, you know, chemicals being spilled on it and such. The outside around it is actually it's just actually shows the true wood grain of the plywood that they used around it, which is stained a nice red color and has a nice satin varnish on it. So it actually looks really nice. I don't see any scratches in it. I did wipe away a few little you know, the wax that they put on had a few streaks, and I wiped those off and it was just fine. If you look up close, there's actually a texture to this. If I get closer and closer, I don't know, but you'll actually see, you can kind of tell by the feel and look of it that it's actually a laminate that's on there on top of real wood, plywood. And these lines are actually silk screened on top of here. And honestly, the laminate part of it doesn't bother me. I'll get into a couple of things about laminate versus the veneer that's actually what do you call it, varnished and sanded and varnished and sanded. There's that ding again, but like I said, I can take a little bit of stain and fix that. It really doesn't bother me. Everything else is really in top shape on this board. There are rubber bumpers on there. This particular one, they have silver screws in the white bumpers, but the other one, the exact same board that I had ordered, had brass screws and black bumpers, or maybe it was silver screws and black bumpers. I don't remember. I got it over there. But anyway, that works pretty good. So what I want to do is try to show you kind of the difference in how the discs slide on it compared to other surfaces. Okay, so let's do a little bit of a sliding test and we can kind of see the difference. These pucks, these actually are not from Browncastle, and I ordered them separately when I thought I was going to do this a different way, but let's see how it goes. This is actually a varnished surface, tabletop surface with no wax or anything. That's how it kind of, that's how a disc, kind of the speed going across here. Let's see how it does here. Wow, look at that. You see the difference there between it? Let's go a little softer. You got just a little bit more time before it actually slows down. I try not to get it off the table. And compared it, the time where it's moving until it stops is much shorter here, and it's much longer here. And I have not waxed this board yet. Usually I put a coating of a carnauba wax on it. So I think this board works really well. And you know what's funny? This has got just a little bit of a texture to it. It's really, really fine. It's much finer than, like I said, a school lab table, the laminate that's on there. It's actually much finer. But these silk screened lines, you can actually feel with your finger lightly. And I thought, you know, maybe that would be a problem because I can feel those. But you know, when I'm beating it, there's absolutely no difference. You cannot even tell that those things are silk screened on there. It just, there's no, you know, before I get too far, I think I'll put the center hole in here so when I don't have to pry it out. Yeah, like I'm going to get it in the center anyway. But anyway, hey, look at that. But that's how these discs slide, and I think they slide very nicely. And you see how it kind of connects to the other discs? You know, that is right out of the box. I haven't done anything to it. So this works really, really, it's a really nice surface. Now, I did want to cover a couple of things about these boards. At this point, you know, feel free to just shut off the video and watch something else because this part's probably going to be a little boring. It's just kind of sharing my thoughts about why I purchased this, why I didn't go up to the very high level boards, how this compares to the high level boards, that sort of thing. So feel free to tune it out if you're really not interested. The difference between the veneer and the laminate, this is a laminate. The veneer is where they take the actual real wood and they have it for the very thin top layer of the plywood. Then you stain it and then you varnish it and sand it and varnish it and sand it 10 or 12 times, and you use different grits and until you reach enlightenment or whatever. You know, you have to have the absolute perfect playing surface, and people are kind of funny about that. But my choice was, I didn't know when I first got this if anybody liked to play it. And that's kind of a big question, you know. We've got a gaming group, you know, around 6 to 8 guys, and a lot of times we've got, you know, 20 minutes till everybody shows up, and I want something to do. What I didn't want to happen is I didn't want to spend, you know, $300, $400 for the nicest board, and then have them go, yeah, that's kind of fun. You know, it's like, well, dang, you know, I spent $400 on this and nobody really cares for it. It's flicking disc, you know, you know, you just don't know how your crowd is going to react to it. So it's like, I didn't want to spend the big bucks to find that out. But, you know, I didn't want to go the cheap $70 ones that you get on Amazon shipped from China, because they really feel cheap. And, you know, that's part of the experience. You don't want it to be so cheap that they dismiss it before they even get a chance to really play it. So it's kind of a hard balance there to actually try to figure that out. So, you know, I tried to watch as many videos as I could and actually see what mattered to me the most was how the disc acted on the surface. Is that good enough? I mean, this is without any speed powder at all. And I went ahead and I also bought me some of the fast speed powder that I thought would be great, and it's not so great. I actually enjoy this with no speed powder the best. And we'll kind of get into that too. I'll see if I remember to get into that later. But it was really a choice between this board or the really expensive ones. And there are plus and minuses on both sides. I mean, this one is a laminate, and it's a one-piece laminate. I have seen other boards, I think like Mayday Games, they had one where the laminate was kind of pieced together, and they had, you know, ones that actually you saw seams, small seams where the laminates were fit together. This is one solid piece of laminate. There are no seams, nothing else. The thing about laminate is the wood grain looks just a little too perfect. You know what I mean? The color's a little too good. The design on the pattern is a little too perfect. And, you know, if you look at it really close with a magnifying glass, you can't see any dots from the printing process. It's just a really nice looking wood grain. And that's kind of the advantage of a laminate. They take the best looking wood, and that's what they take a photo of to actually do the printing on it. So you always, anytime you buy laminate, you know you're going to get a nice wood grain. And that's what kind of bothered me about the real top level ones where they use a veneer, because a veneer is the actual real wood. Hey, and guess what? You get what you get. Because, you know, what they do is they take the piece of plywood, they cut it out, they varnish it and all that, and it's natural wood. And when you buy natural wood, you know, there are defects in the wood that happens. And, you know, sometimes there are, you know, cute, happy little defects, and sometimes they're kind of ugly little defects. It depends on how you look at it. It depends on what kind of grain texture you like. You know, do you like the knot here? Do you like the dark spots here? It's like, well, that's just a part of the natural. It makes it look like natural wood. Yeah. But, you know, it also might be kind of ugly. You know, it depends on your opinion of it. And that's the other thing that really bothered me. The other thing that really bothered me on this thing is that if I ordered one of the high-level boards that are really, you know, the $350, $400 boards, do I get to pick the wood texture that's on that? Or do I just get what I get? You know, I haven't really contacted them to find out. But, you know, the difference between, you know, a wood texture that's just, you know, unique and interesting compared to kind of ugly, well, that's really your opinion. For me to go to buy one of the high-level boards personally, I would prefer to go into a showroom and actually look at them up there on the wall and say, I don't really like that texture. That one's a little better. Oh, wow, look at that. Oh, the cool natural element. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. I'm going to buy it. But, you know, those places are in Canada. Or, you know, there's only like, 4 places in the, that you can get in the United States you get these from. So it's really hard to actually pick something nice out. You just have to trust that they know what they're doing and they're actually going to get you a really nice looking board. And when you're going to spend that much for it, it makes it a little harder. It's kind of like, I won't buy furniture that I can't sit in. If I can't go to the showroom and sit in it and go that, this couch is kind of hard, I can't buy house furniture over the internet. It doesn't work for me. I got to sit in it to find out if I like it. And it's not like I can go try out their boards. I'm not going to fly a plane out there to do that. I have to trust, So that's why I went with the lower cost one, just to find out. And we played it our first game night with the first board, and everybody had a blast. They really enjoyed this game. Now, I do want to mention a little something about speed powder. I did buy some of their fastest speed powder to go with this, and compared to the regular board, I really didn't care for it. And I thought about trying to get the next level down, the one that's not quite as fast. And here's the thing that's kind of funny about it. They call it wax powder, but it's not wax at all. It's just kind of a generic term for it. This is a container of basically micro BBs. They're actually very small, tiny. It's like you feel like you're putting salt onto the surface of this. And what that does is when you do that, you see how that acts? Oh my God, it just goes. It's like playing on an air hockey table. These discs, they actually go like that. And I don't know if you saw what that did, but kind of watch this. And here's one of the things that really bothered me about the powder is it's going and then it suddenly stopped. That's because all the BBs ran out from under it, and now it just hits the plain board, and what really makes it confusing on how hard you're supposed to make the shot. And then, so you put a little speed powder on it, and it goes great until it runs out of speed powder, and then, it's just, it stops after that. So that's probably the main reason I don't like the speed powder. And the other thing is if you like using the powder, and the guy on the other side of the table doesn't, I can't just use it on mine because it's going to put powder on the table. Even if I put my own little stack and kind of put it in here and shoot it across, eventually what's going to happen is, you see how that stopped again? Eventually what's going to happen is powder is going to get over on his end and he's going to shoot the way he usually does and it'll go flying across the table, like it's on an air hockey table. And that gets kind of annoying, and I'd probably have to say a little unfair. The reason I chose this particular boards or these boards were a combination, a balance of nice slideability and decent price. That's really the bottom line on this. That's why, a couple of dings really didn't bother me because I got a really good price on the thing. Now, I noticed if you go to Browncastle, their website, this sells for $189 and the shipping is free. So that's really, really pretty good. You'll also notice the same table on sale at Etsy and Amazon by Browncastle as well. And they're like $280. I thought, what the heck? Why is it so much higher there? But with those particular ones, you actually get, I think you may get disc with. I don't know. I know that you get the carrying case with it, and I know you get those clear plastic 20-point holders that go on the rim. I think you get those two things, but I'm not sure that you get the disc. I think you still have to pay for the disc separately. So I just felt like, maybe it's not true, but I felt like I got a little better deal going to their website directly to order it rather than going through Amazon or Etsy. And it could be it's more expensive because they have to pay Amazon fees and they have to pay Etsy fees, where on their own website they don't have to do that. So personally, I would go to their website to order the thing. Anyway, to wrap it up, I thought this was a really good purchase. I would buy it again. As you can see that I actually bought 2 of these things. So hopefully this will help you decide if this is something you want to do or if you want to invest the money in the really high level boards. Personally, I wanted to try it out first, and there's no way I could try it out without actually buying a board. Anyway, that's it. I hope this was informative, and good luck on your search for a Crokinole board.